Hello, welcome to the August Logic Apps webcast.
Hello, hello.
I'm here with, my name's Kevin Lamb. I'm here with John
John.
and Padma,
Thank
and
you.
we're excited to share with you the latest and greatest things that have been happening with Logic Apps. Let's get right into it. What's new? What's new? How you doing? So we're excited to announce that we have a new BizTalk connector. So the BizTalk connector allows you to connect Logic Apps from the Logic Apps in the cloud to an on-premises BizTalk server. John, give it a plug.
Okay, yeah. So if you'd missed this, we released the BizTalk connector about a week and a bit ago to every region in Azure. So what this lets you do is be able to, from Logic Apps, call down to BizTalk server. So the way that works is that I can pick my BizTalk server, I can set up a connection to it, and once I've done that, I can then see when I call BizTalk, I can enumerate the receive locations, pick a receive location, I can pick a schema. We have an action that lets you create a message in the right shape with the schema, the root node and namespace to be able to create an XML message to send down to BizTalk server. That's on top of the adapter that we shipped about the end of June with CDP2 just after that. So you now have full ability to go backwards and forwards between BizTalk and Logic Apps, with Logic Apps calling BizTalk or BizTalk calling Logic.
That's super cool. And extending that story, we also have released the MQ series, Adapt connector, DB2, and Informix connector. So now you have a lot more rich on-premises connectivity to classical systems, really enriching that enterprise scenarios.
Yeah, and these are really cool. So these let you actually use the gateway as well as being able to connect to MQ directly. So you can use it in sort of multiple modes. So you can configure an on-premise data gateway and connect to your MQ servers on premises and pull and push messages to those MQ servers. Same with DB2, you can connect to a DB2 database regardless of where it is and for Informix as well. So great new functionality there for enterprise usage.
What's next? Excited. I don't know what's next. I do know what's next.
Yeah.
Visual Studio Online connector. So now we released a new connector that allows you to connect to your Visual Studio account, and you can do a trigger on a new build, or you want to create a bug or work item in Visual Studio. Team services, you can go ahead and do that with the new connector. It's really opening up a lot of those scenarios for connecting. So we have a GitHub connector, now we have a VSDS connector, so a lot of really interesting DevOps and engineering scenarios are popping up. One of these delighter features, I'm so excited about this. This is one of those things that you always ask for, but always gets put at the end of the list. But we put it on the top of the list. It's comments in the designer. So now you're able to go ahead and click on the little ellipsis on a card and add comments to your actions and steps. So now you can have self-documenting Logic Apps. This is a really great enhancer that everybody loves to have, but is always okay when we miss it. But we're not missing it this time.
This is fantastic, right? As when you combine this with the rename feature as well, which we shipped a couple of months ago, a month ago, you can really start to document your Logic App. So as they get bigger and more complex, you can then come back to it and understand exactly what it does and how it does it by adding annotations and by using rename as well in conjunction with that to make your Logic Apps much clearer, much more understandable. But not just you, but to other folks as well.
Yeah, such a simple thing that delights everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Enterprise templates. So there's a lot of capabilities we've added with EDI and B2B scenarios, and some of those things are a little complex to use and understand how AS2 and X12 and Artifact and doing a better type of pipeline scenario can all fit together. So now we've added templates to our template gallery. So when you create a new Logic App, you see the list of templates, and we put them right at the top so you can see those. And so we give you a head start, or you can just use them right out of the box and get those things lit up.
But there is more. Are you ready, Padma? So the other thing that we added is some quick start templates as well. So if this feels like too much hassle to actually create a Logic App and pick the template, we're actually making it really easy. Because the thing that you then have to do is you have to get hold of some schemas, maps, or whatever else to build that integration flow. So we've actually added more to that as a quick start. We actually will provision you an integration account as part of that quick start template. You can just provide your subscription and it'll create the Logic App, but it'll also create everything else that goes in the integration account to get an up and running sample as quickly as possible for both the beta pipeline and for AS2.
So just to make sure people understand the distinction between a quick start template and an enterprise template. We have templates in the designer that allows you to create a Logic App that shows you all the different actions and triggers that are needed. A quick start template is really an ARM deployment template that not only contains the logic app, but all the collateral that John was referencing in terms of schemas and maps and the stuff that goes into the integration account itself. So it's all configured with a single click.
Yeah, very cool. And it's really useful for those of you who are interested in doing automated deployments and things. You can see how we put our templates together and use those for yourselves and be able to kind of automate the whole thing so that you don't have to kind of manually create any of these artifacts. So
yeah, so if you look at the documentation piece, what
here we go.
okay, so the templates which John was referring, you can find the documentation page and then XML processing. There is a section called Try for Yourself. If you go and then there is a link to that, you can work on it. It will take you to this GitHub location where there is an easy deployment to your subscription. There is a provision for that, and it will create an integration account, a logic app, and then Azure function to that. And we have provided all the artifacts relative to that. Okay. So the prerequisites for this template is need to create a function app. I'm going to create a function here.
So just quickly on that, because I mentioned that before, that we have the dependency on Azure Functions. This allows us to provide you a sandbox environment to run these transformations in. This is an implementation detail which will go away over time, but right now it's just the only one additional step you need to use this template is to create a function app container first, and then you can just provision the template straight off and create the logic app and integration account.
So I'm just giving the app name is webcast XML try. Remember that, and then I can create a new resource group. I would like to select the location is some West US. So you can select any location you want. Then go on create. It will create the function app for you. And then next thing is go on then deploy, creating the rest of the artifacts. Like it will create you the integration account, the function, as well as like your workflow. So if I go ahead and then it will open into the subscription page and allows me to create it one click. So I'm just giving the function name that I created.
Are you still presenting?
Yep. Do you not see it? Is it there now? Oh, thank you. That's
So
weird.
I'm using the same resource group that I created with my function app, and I'm accepting the legal terms.
This is because you're going to create new artifacts, and they have a charging model for these. So it's just acknowledging that we're going to create artifacts in your subscription, just so you know what's going on.
So my resource group deployment started. Just showing the progress here. So looking for the artifact to complete.
So while we're just waiting, for those of you who are not familiar with what a Veta pipeline is before, I think we mentioned it, but this is creating a number of things inside logic apps, just coming up now. So this is the Veta stands for validate, extract, transform, enrich, or extract and route. So validation, you use the XML validation component that we have. Extraction, you can use our XPath function to be able to pull data out of a message or create new messages from XPath expressions. Transform is the ability to run XSLT. That's what Padma was just showing with the provisioning of the function. And then extraction, again, the same as the way in, and then route. Using all the logic functionality that we have, you can decide where you want to send that message using one of our commands.
Yeah. So now if you look at the logic app resource group, we created one integration account and one logic app as well as the function here. So if I look at the integration account has a schema, the maps just created, and then go to the workflow, and then workflow you can see the association between the integration account and the logic app. So you can see that here, the association. Okay. So now I use my external I use the postman to submit a message to this particular workflow. I'll go here and then select my definition, try to get the trigger endpoint.
Yeah, so just pulling up the logic app, it's got an HTTP receive trigger. Grab the URL from there.
I'm just driving the URL. And this particular input file you can see in the GitHub as well in that artifact section. I just submitted a message and then I saw the response from that workflow. If you go back to my workflow, I can see the run history. Overview. So just now one message has fired and then I see the succeeded status. And if you look at the run history, you can see that everything is here. So what is here? My XML validation and then transform and the condition, if it is successful, I have to send back the response back to my.
And the condition's got an XBAR expression in it, right?
Right. So I can show the original one definition, logic definition, which created as part of the try ignore section. So you have one trigger and associated with an XML validation, and then this schema has been picked up from the integration account. The transform is having the function that I just created, that webcast XML try, and the map, which is from the integration account. So once the condition is succeeded, so you can send a response back to your origin saying that the body transformed XML.
Awesome. So just in like a few minutes, Badman's just gone through the entire process of starting with nothing other than the Azure subscription, just going to GitHub, provisioning it, creating the function container, hitting the button, and done. And just run the thing, putting a message in, doing the transformation. You see a different message coming out. It's like straight through in just a few minutes.
Dude, we have better pipelines in Logic Apps.
We do.
All in a few minutes. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Classic experiences. I don't need to think about receive pipelines and send pipelines anymore.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and that's not the only template we've got. Have you got the AS2 one there as well?
Yeah.
So another scenario, because we know this stuff kind of gets complex when you're doing EDI and there's stuff you've got to kind of create the schemas and maps and all the rest of it just to kind of get something running so you can understand what's going on. So we've also released an AS2 template, which actually has quite a bit more to it. It has a sender and receiver logic app, as well as creating an integration account and putting all the artifacts in that. So that's out on GitHub as well. You can just go to your favorite search engine, literally just type in GitHub AS2 template, and you're going to find it. I just tried it, so it'll come up. Padman's got it right here, though, so you can, again, just using the same mechanisms you just showed there, just press the button, provide your subscription details, and you're good to go. Okay.
Oh, yeah, and I linked to this article
Awesome.
in the chat as well, because a few people were asking.
Okay, go back to slides.
One more thing I want to share. There's
Sure.
a quick start template for the EDI. If you have a logic app or the workflow is created here.
There we go.
So I just want to create a logic app. And then the quick start templates, which John and Kevin was mentioning earlier. So you can see all the EDI templates over there. So I can say. Just I'm creating the new logic app.
Okay, great. I'm going to show the template creation
Yeah,
experience.
yeah. So I have a new logic app here, and then if I go to my definition page, I can see a bunch of EDI quick start templates. This is the new stuff we have.
Awesome.
So your actual EDI is
Awesome.
there,
Yeah.
and then AS2 is there, and Better Pipeline is there. Only the thing to use this template, you need to associate integration account to your workflow. So you can do it from here. Go to integration account and associate the workflow with integration account. So then you can go ahead and start use those templates.
Good stuff.
Awesome.
Great. What else?
We have more stuff. I should have put that at the end of the list, but I didn't because there's more. There's always more. So what's next on the list? Compose action. I love this action. So this is your ability to construct a new message right in the Logic app. So if you had a particular shape of a message that was coming in, you need to change that shape. You can now use a compose action to take a elements of different outputs of different actions and construct essentially a new message. And that will get persisted. You can re-reference it as an output to other action steps. And this will be a really useful scenario for folks. So it's in the engine for a while. It's just got exposed to the designer.
Which is great, because this is really powerful, right? The ability to kind of create something from nothing. Oftentimes you're just working with the outputs from other steps. Now you have the opportunity to create something yourself, either from literals or from outputs from other steps, and just create an entire message and send it downstream to further actions.
It's going to be super useful.
All in the design. It's great.
Okay, I think that's it for what's new.
There's one more thing.
Oh, is there one more thing?
One more thing. Let's see if I can quickly. Let's see if I can quickly show this. Let's go to the entire screen. Let's see if I can flip over. Are we good, Jeff?
Yep, you're good.
Right. So
in a beautiful Visual Studio.
Yeah, awesome. The one more thing I wanted to add. We talked about Visual Studio before. One of the things you might have run into, if you notice this, is the great stuff that Pamela was showing, the integration account stuff. Isn't accessible from Visual Studio right now. This is a feature we're working on. So I'm just showing the latest build of the designer that I have here that we're trying to get to releasing as soon as possible. And you see over on the right-hand side here, I have an integration account. So now I can specify, I can pick up the integration account I created as part of that GitHub deployment or whatever, created myself from scratch. And when I do an add new step, and let's say I put in XML validation, now I can see the schemas that I have from my integration account. Just flip it. I know, awesome. It's awesome. And you see, here's my integration account, my Contoso integration account, and the two schemas, custom orders, and order file. I can now just and nothing on my sleeve. It's hard to move, right? And I can use any of the other actions we got as part of the integration pack as part of this as well. So all the EDI functionality and pick up all of that stuff and create a logic app, directly in Visual Studio from start to finish now as well.
Golly, we've been busy.
Yeah.
But we're even busier because we still have stuff in progress. We switched over.
Yep, you're good.
Okay, so stuff in progress. API management integration. Our buddies, very critical to our integration scenarios is API management, and we're doing a great first-class experience for how you're able to go and look at your APIs that are managed by API management. And so we're going to release an experience that allows you, just like you have with functions and workflows and API apps, will let you see the APIs managed by API management. You'll be able to click it, and then boom, you can use it as a first-class connector in your designer. It's going to be cool.
Very cool.
SAS Key Management. So we have, today, for example, in your trigger, you have a SAS rule that you can get to go ahead and talk to a logic app with doing a post to that trigger endpoint. We're enriching that experience so that you can now roll those keys and put expiration dates on it. So we're really enriching that so that you can better manage those endpoints. And John already let that cat out of the bag. So Visual Studio tooling for integration accounts, that's on its way.
Yeah.
We saw a little demo for that one. Redesign parameter selection experience. So, for those of you who have used actions that have lots of outputs, or you have, you're at an action that has 20 steps before it, and so you open your card and all of a sudden you see, boom, all these cool tokens, but it's now occupying a lot of space and it's hard to navigate. We're going to improve that experience. We're actually working on that now, where we're going to redesign how you select those tokens and create a nice search experience. It's better organized. You don't get that very jarring shift in your card that's going to move your properties up and down. So we're going to really make that a much better experience. Peak lock and complete for service bus. So, today a service bus trigger will automatically do the completion of the read in the queue as you're working through your logic apps. We realize that there are some scenarios where users want to choose when they want to release that mechanism. So we'll give you a means by which you can do a read of the message and then choose when you're going to release that message from the queue, so that you can have a lot of scenarios in case of a failure case that goes back, or you can choose when you're really done with that message in the logic app. So that's it for what's new. And stuff about reaching out. So there's always a lot of things that we have that's out there. Look at our Logic Apps blog, aka MS Logic Apps blog. one of the things I'll call out in here, there's a few things I want to call out. These are our normal links, but we have a BizTalk bootcamp for those guys who are interested in BizTalk, and it's not just about BizTalk. It's going to be about APIM and logic apps and flows, and we're going to be in Charlotte, North Carolina in a few weeks, just before Ignite. So the Thursday and Friday just before Ignite, we'll be out there and we'll be running bootcamp.
It's almost like a live in-experience for Logic Apps Live.
It's like a live Logic Apps
Well,
Live.
Yeah. In person, 3D.
So you can touch us, but don't touch us.
So yeah, absolutely. So I'll just give a plug for this as well, because a bunch of us will be in town in Charlotte at the end of September, helping out with the boot camp and making sure things go really well for those of you who attend. If you want to sign up, I think there's still a little bit of room, but it's filling up quick. So we will be covering a whole bunch of integration products that are as part of our team, so you can really get hands-on experience. It's about kind of really getting dirty with the technology and understanding how it all works and how you can use it back in your own organizations. And then we're all going down to Ignite, where we've got a bunch of integration sessions at Ignite we're really looking forward to, and should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, if you're going to go, come see us at our booth, the Microsoft integration booth. That will be there, or of course come to our talks and our sessions at that event. One more thing, we did recently a podcast, so you can listen to me talking on the podcast. It was a pretty good interview. And of course, please join our monthly newsletter. And if you're an Azure advisor or want to become an Azure advisor, join our Azure Advisors Alias so you can get first step on all the news and releases and give us input pretty early.
Yeah, and ask questions as well. If you get stuck, then it's a great place to kind of ask questions, and there's community building there. People are jumping in and answering questions, and of course we do the same thing. So.
And one other call out, I know I'm behind the curtain today. This is Jeff. There's a link. We always have the link to our user voice. This is a great place to not only vote for features, but one of the filters that we really value on this link, the second one there, is on connectors. You see, we listed 3 of our updates today. We're on new connectors. We're working on some now, but we really want to make sure that we work on next those connectors that will be very valuable to you, to your partners, to your customers, to your scenarios in general. Kevin just sent out an email today, and we usually send one out every week saying, like, here's where the votes are right now. So there's a good race going on right now between a few connectors. But please take time to go cast your votes. We update user voice as well, which means sometimes when your feature gets shipped, you get those votes back. So if you voted for Visual Studio, you now have maybe 3 more votes that you can go distribute across different connectors that you want. So just an extra plug to go there. And if we ever get an email or a tweet from you saying, where's this connector, and we don't see a vote in user voice, what's going on? So make sure, yeah. What do you mean you're asking for this? No one's voting for it. So please vote.
Yeah, vote with your fingers. That time of year.
Yes.
Okay. So thanks, everybody.
We have a few questions. You ready for that?
Let's shoot.
Okay, so we'll start at the top. The first one is, can you publish a link to the templates? I pushed that in the chat. Are there any plans to provide a possibility to disable a logic app through the portal, a bit like functions? When you link it to source control, you can edit it via Visual Studio.
You can disable
disable to edit in the portal.
That's a great idea.
So it's like this is only source controlled. You can no longer edit this in the portal. Yes.
Right. That's a great idea.
Yes. We've actually heard it before, but it's slipped a little bit on our backlog, and this is a good question to pop it a little bit back up. So people can pull us one in the chat as well if you want to add pseudo votes. Yeah. But great question. Not possible today.
Right.
Okay, another question. People want to know more about the compose action and see a demo of it. That's a very, very good point. There's a doc that's getting submitted that will help explain that a little bit more, especially because you click the info button and it just says compose. So you're like, what's going on here? But yeah, we'll demo that as well. Thanks, Ragnar. We got some applause for the integration account in Visual Studio. On API management, we will be able to expose logic apps via API easily, or is this to consume APIs exposed there? So it's both. Yes.
The API management team is working on features as well to expose a logic app as a API.
Yep. So we're working close together. We're hoping the selecting one of your APIs will hopefully come in the next 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, and then the API management stuff will come probably around there too. So they might actually both go at the same time. Okay. Would love to see create subscription action on service bus. To create a subscription. I see.
Yeah, I understand why.
Yes,
Yeah.
I did too. That's from Nick. I've even seen some demos where he's done some cool stuff with that.
Interesting correlations.
And we're getting lots of +1s on the locking in the portal for source control stuff. Okay, that's it for questions, though. And more applause. Just general applause in general. People say that the cast is much more pleasant to look at this week. They haven't had to turn off their monitors. So I'll stick to podcasts. Anyway.
Good to hear. All right. All right. Well, for those of you who can make it to Charlotte or to Ignite in Atlanta next month, we'd love to see you. Reach out. If you want to meet out with us, we'd love to do that too. So otherwise, great. Thanks for listening in.